This SHD process now derives from Humanomics in general, and it's now necessary to be used in order for man to ascend in and through with its central organizing principle that is receiving to give. Quote, unquote, in particular, is a function of man's achieving his identity resolution that defines who he really is. And how we achieve this? Yesterday we were all behavioral mammals. Today we are the nascent, cognitive being man who is called to ascend from being a behavioral mammal to his destiny as the cognitive being man. And so how do we achieve this? Question mark. We go forward today with the person, who we are, the spouse we have, our family, our community, and our nation of today, all certain to be fundamentally different tomorrow. And this is the meaning of the Exodus from Egypt. That is the Passover. Now moving from symbolic to actual. Well, Chris, you see what you left? White space. In herein, we all begin the deconstruction of exile's personal ground zero. Again, only after we individually, as families, communities, and as a nation, together in the denial of the end of man and mankind's separation and exile from our authentic self and God. This is the purpose of Humanomics in general, and I'm the author of Humanomics, and its new central organizing principle, receive and to give, as we now begin the era of postmodernism. This is its central organizing principle, Chris, just if you could manage to handle the wake-up call. Paragraph, whether as secular humanists or traditional spiritualists, the task is the same for all of us, namely the ascent of man in the next phase of his historical development. How is this process of man's transformation first understood in order to develop, and comprehend it, in order to achieve it? The answer is we begin with the crescent event, that's a metaphor, of man's exile. And this is the event of man's exile. As understanding this event begins with learning to comprehend particular events as follows, and their meaning. To begin with, the narrative of 9/11, the collapse of the local reality. And this means to you, your family, community, nation, to all mankind. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to all of you on all the levels so that we can thus understand it and eventually comprehend it? It means, to secular humanists, it means the end of modernity and the beginning of postmodernity. For spiritual humanists, it means the end of man and mankind's exile and the beginning of redemption. The meaning of this event is next summarized on its related four levels as a mere heuristic description of the meta-narrative of this event, beginning with the psychosocial level. On the psychosocial level, it means the collapse of the old East-West model, namely communism, socialism, and capitalism, and its failed democracies in the West. The solution is the new East-West convergence model, Humanomics, and its two paradigms that replace both East and West old models in convergence in the new central model of Humanomics based on its new unifying central organizing principle. On the behavioral level, it means we now see that the two major monotheistic religions have collapsed. Islam, Christianity, parenthetically, and also Judaism are now undergoing basic change, as all three were based on giving to receive, as all are now undergoing a fundamental transformation after the end of exile's denial and the ascent and habitation receiving. The solution, the old giving to receive, is now replaced by Humanomics. And its new central organizing principle received to give. On the cognitive level, two major economies collapse, and the G9 appears to follow, as now we need the new economic paradigm that replaces the old division of labor, as the new world economy's new world-class international conduct derived from its models, how does this is the reality. This is where we are. And these debating society exercises and all your feeble-minded groupies are writing me these ridiculous, obnoxious, ignorant articulations when you are not talking to the subject of first causes, when you're not talking to the significant body whole of knowledge and the history of the ascent of man that you throw away with your feeble-minded, I'm an atheist and everybody should understand the implicit and explicit brilliant logic, and you get up there and you spin and spin and spin, and when real questions come your way and you throw out these hypothetical questions and they're answered and you have no response whatever, and the answer of the truth is the information that never changes, parenthetically, in finality, changing parenthetically and intentionally, quote unquote, that answered your ridiculous question happens to be the central organizing principle of the logic of the postmodern era. I'm its author. And when you talk down and your people talk down to someone who is significantly more advanced in the postmodern era than yourself, you should humble yourself. And you should be a little bit less arrogant before the God of the cosmos and the God of Israel. And your arrogance is only shown to be second to your particular ignorance of the events that have brought the end of man and mankind's exile. And so if I seem a bit aggressive, it is because my patience have run thin with the stupidity of what I continue to hear, and the more I develop in work to help and to resolve the conflicts of the absolute absence of the bridge between where mankind, the mammal, yesterday we were all mammals. Today we are, ready or not, on the nascent ascent of cognitive beings. Why don't you give it the program, Chris, and contribute something instead of standing around like a flaming angry little boy complaining about the past and complaining about all the terrible things that you see you have to change in the world? Why don't you get on the positive side and lend your shoulder to the effort? Okay, so now I've said my piece. I had to read very fast because I had to prepare that, to write it first before to get it all into one video. I thank you for listening. I'm Yehoshua Yaakov of Didactic Science.